Everybody knows AI patterns now. You can see it a mile away in writing, in design, and mostly in really bad vibe coding. So today, I'm gonna walk through the 3 places where AI slop shows up most obviously, and more importantly, the tools I use to kind of like herd AI back towards the original idea to stop the slop. No use beating around the bush, may as well just jump right into the first one, which is writing. Man, it is super easy to tell when something was ChatGPT generated, and it is a massive turnoff, dude. Nobody takes you seriously when your post sounds like a generic LinkedIn robot. And I will stick the pins in LinkedIn because it's absolutely the worst. We all know those posts, and ironically enough, I've got a post here on LinkedIn talking about how LinkedIn has become the AI slot machine. So this just goes to show that even a year ago, people were starting to get wise to these different patterns. Like, this is well documented. How I dodge this is this skill here called stop slop. And the beautiful part about this is it doesn't tell your AI agent how to write. It's not like sound exactly like me. It really just teaches your AI agent what is now considered the AI trope and just tells it directly to avoid these patterns. Has banned phrases, structural cliches, sentence level rules. But to show you this in practice, I'll bounce over to my terminal, and I've copied a piece of absolute LinkedIn art just for your viewing pleasure to show you exactly what this looks like. Okay, so the original post here is it's not just about leveraging AI tools, MDAT. It's about unlocking a new era of creativity, productivity, and innovation. In today's fast-paced digital landscape, creators who embrace AI will give a competitive edge, amplify their impact, and transform the way they work. Sounds legit to me. Now, and you can smell this a mile away, right? And it's not strictly because of the M dash, therefore robot, but like the whole package together, it screams AI. So we'll run this through the skill and I'll show you the before and after. So it's revision. AI won't make you creative. It gives you more shots on goal. Creators who learn how to use it can test ideas faster, make more, and spend less time stuck in blank page mode. Okay, so I mean, yeah, it is a little bit generic, but that's just because the original post had absolutely nothing to it to begin with. So it's not gonna magically give you a great idea. All this does is instructs the agents to not use these like AI tropes, right? Where this really gets good is where you give your agent your writing preferences and like some context and whatever, and then just have stop slop as a final revision pass. That's when it starts to sound a little bit more like you. I wanted to race through and get to this as fast as possible so you could see it in practice, but the main takeaway that I really need to hammer home is that AI doesn't give you the ideas. If AI is coming up with the ideas, that's the slop machine. That's where this is all coming from. The best workflow is you have an idea, you give it to AI to help you organize and present much faster. So this by no means replaces your writing or writing as a whole. In fact, I think that the more people use AI tools, the more value is going to be placed on human stuff that the machine can't do. Even myself, as somebody who's built a business on top of AI tools, I'm still a creative. Most of my adult life, my full-time work had something to do with art, food, or music, so I understand that side of it. On the other side of it, I think you're absolutely insane not to be using these tools. It's just that most people accept the generic outputs and use them really badly. Back to the slop. The other really obvious AI-ism shows up in design, whether it's your AI videos, advertising, websites, like whatever. Visual AI slop is everywhere and it is exhausting. This image actually sums it up really, really well. At first glance, it looks okay, you know what I mean? And then it's like the uncanny valley where the more you look at it, the more you realize that this is wrong. Like this silly polished lid, instead of just being a polished lid, it's got polished embossed. The hand here for scale, and then the other little waiter down there. You look at the cake and it's bread inside, 40% plus of what? Nothing on the plate. Like, this is awful. I'll leave a link to this article down below because I think it's awesome. And the point they're trying to make that I strongly agree with is using AI itself isn't slop. Where slop comes in is where it is missing judgment. There is a massive difference between AI assisted and AI slop, right? AI assisted is okay. It's where you have an idea, you give it something specific, you verify for fidelity, you edit, right? And you get an output that's similar to something you would have done yourself anyway, just removes a lot of the friction. AI slop has none of those steps and just skips to the output, and it's completely empty and dumb. There's a version of this for pretty much everything, including websites, which is what I'm going to use as an example, and that's where Impeccable comes in to help you out with the design. Impeccable is my favorite sort of like border collie style skill just to keep everything under control and herd it towards the idea you had on the outset. Just like stop slop, this thing goes through and teaches your agent not just about the design cliches that AI keep reaching for, but also how to avoid them. Runs it through 58 checks to make sure that it's all good, and those include typography, color scheme, layout, all the typical stuff. But the nice thing is it also comes with a design brief that your agent then needs to adhere to so that it keeps you within the boundaries of what you were actually looking for. If you go over to their website under the slop heading, it gives you specific examples of what they look for. Like, you can see this in practice, right? With the 2022 version of AI slop websites. And I mean, this to us now looks generic as all get out. But there was a point in time where we were like, dang, dude, I just got this landing page in like 5 minutes, right? Nowadays, they have updated it to 2026. The newer version obviously looks a little bit different, but there's the same sort of level of AI safe blandness, you know what I mean? Like the same generic structure, same spacing, same hierarchy, same like safe product energy. And that's why this page is so useful, is because it gives you language for these patterns, because telling your agent to just like make this look less AI isn't instructions. It doesn't know how. You need to be able to instruct your agent specifically about like, okay, here are the rules, here are the references, and here is what we're not doing. Okay, so to avoid making this an entire design tutorial, the basic idea is that instead of asking the model to make a nice website, Impeccable starts with a design directive and has a vocabulary that your AI agents understand. And if you check it out on impeccable.style, it'll show you exactly the before and after, right? So here's a good example right there, as well as a lot of different examples of what is generated with this skill. I might be underselling it here because this is actually one of my most used plugins. It is not just for websites. It's an absolute game changer for anything visual at all. Any sort of layout or typography or graphic design, UI. I definitely encourage you to try this out because it works great. Before I keep going, I want to stop and do a quick plug for my own thing because I got to keep the lights on. You've actually been watching me work in my own custom Obsidian workspace this entire time. The reason I love Obsidian is because it's completely extensible and customizable. You can use your web browser, bring in your Hermes agent, your calendar. I've got all of my notes and context right here, as well as a bunch of different plugins, including my custom command center. This has been an absolute lifesaver in terms of running my business, keeping me on track, and like helping me stay on top of making content. A lot of people think that Obsidian is just a note-taking app. What this plugin does is it takes all of those notes, takes all of my context, my email, and helps me understand what my next steps are. I'm able to track all the metrics that actually mean something to me, not just vanity numbers, but correlations here too. When I do this, my revenue goes up or down. I've also got content intelligence in here, keeping me on track with what people are talking about, what's trending, and helps me come up with ideas. Got an inbox here and a CRM, everything in one place. I made available a lot of free resources with a link in the description, including a starter setup of this vault. You can check it out, see if you like it. But if you want this exact setup the same way I have it here, that's available through the premium membership of my school community, where you can also get my other builds and join over 3,000 other members that are building and talking about really cool stuff like this all the time. Definitely worth checking out, but let's get back to it. Number 3 is AI code. So AI Slop has patterns all over the board, no matter what it is, right? Like AI writing Slop has a lot to do with voice. AI design Slop has a lot to do with taste. AI code Slop has patterns as well, but that is a little bit more subtle because it has a lot more to do with behavior than it does with something that you can like tangibly see. You can immediately spot a really generic, stupid LinkedIn post or like a really cheesy AI generated website. They look bad immediately. AI code can still look really impressive off the hop, but it has a lot more to do with what the agent did and how they got there. This was tricky, and I don't think a big live demo is actually going to do anybody any good here, but AI is notorious for going in and touching too many things or going off on a different tangent, overbuilding stuff, saying it's done when there's still 20% left completely untouched. That is really bad vibe coding, and that's where Superpowers comes in. That's our third skill of the day, and if Impeccable was one of my most used skills, Superpowers is definitely my most used skill. Number 1 overall. The reason Superpowers is cool is because it doesn't really make the model smarter. It just makes sure that it colors within the lines, essentially, right? So instead of a model just like chasing its tail, trying to complete a string of tasks, this makes the goal really clear and identifies what it is you're trying to do. Under the hood, it's broken down into 7 steps, okay? So the first one is brainstorming, which is as it sounds. It just stops, and instead of jumping into code right away, make sure it knows exactly what it is you're trying to do so we can achieve the goal rather than just like crossing stuff off the list. The second thing is work trees, which in simple terms just means it creates a safe, isolated environment so that you can test and build this stuff out without affecting anything around it. Number 3, let's write a plan. Plans are good. This goes in and breaks the goal into little bite-sized tasks, okay? So your AI model's not like swinging for the fences right from word 1. It's got manageable work to do in increments. Step 4 is to actually do the work, and it either calls sub-agents or whatever's most appropriate. Step 5, this is a big one. Let's run some tests. Is this actually working? Is everything going according to plan? Step 6 is review. And then step 7 is like a finishing workflow where it goes through and verifies that the tests are accurate, presents options, and then cleans up all of the temp files that you had while you're building this out. Kind of like, it doesn't really sound sexy. And honestly, a lot of folks that I present this to say, isn't that what AI does anyway? And no, a lot of the time, especially like in bigger, heavier models these days, their reasoning gets them all twisted up in knots. So it is very, very important to have something like Superpowers Superpowers, where there is a really clear set of instructions and a clearly defined goal that it can work towards. Because when AI coding gets weird, it doesn't always look dramatic unless you know exactly what you're looking at. It usually just gets weird by touching too many different things. Like you'll ask for a button and then suddenly it's building out a whole new permission framework, or you'll ask for a filter and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of new helpers that nobody asked for. Probably most common, you'll ask it to fix a bug and then it'll confidently explain the fix without actually doing anything. So Superpowers is legitimately awesome for this because it's basically telling AI to like, slow down, dummy. What are we working on? What changed? How do we know it works? And then clean up after yourself. So those are the 3 most common instances where AI slop will show up day to day, and the skills I use to avoid those when I'm using AI tools: Stop, Slop, Impeccable, and Superpowers. I'll make sure to leave a link to those repos in the description below. They're absolutely free. You're welcome to them. Also a link to my community where you can get access to all of my builds, including the Obsidian workspace that you're looking at right now, and join over 3,000 other members that are building out awesome projects with AI every single day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you like this video, YouTube's got another one for you over here. We'll catch you in the next one.